Hi, happy Thanksgiving. We just got through eating our Thanksgiving dinner at church and it was absolutely wonderful. But today I wanted to get another video done because I've been doing them every Thursday. So whether it's Thanksgiving or not, here we go. It is Thursday and today we're going to do Tortillas Ecuador. And the reason I say that is because in Ecuador, they do not have masa, so you can't really make corn tortillas that well, even though they do make it with cornmeal, but it's just not quite the same. And they don't have the flexibility that our tortillas do in the States. So I didn't want to make just flour tortillas. So I combined them and it works really, really great. You can make sandwiches, you can do burritos, you can do all kinds of things with it. And another thing I do is once the tortillas are cooked and you've got some extras, because this recipe will do 12 tortillas and they're big ones. They take up the whole entire pan. And I have this nonstick pan. You will see it takes up the whole pan. As I like to make big ones so that we could make sandwiches, we discovered a really cool way to make sandwiches. But these are chips, and I just sliced up the tortillas and put them on a cookie sheet and baked them in the oven for about at 450 for about 20 minutes. You'll have to check your oven and see how it does. My oven is kind of wacky, so you never know what you're going to get. You just have to try everything. So anyway, today we are going to do Tortillas Ecuador, and I will give you the recipe. I already mixed it up, and here it is. I had the dough rising while we were gone. The dough, once you mix it up just like the bread I showed you. I think it was last week. You just put all the ingredients in a container and stir it up and then put the lid on it, let it sit. Now this sits for about 2.5 to 3 hours. So it's been going for 3 hours. So here it is, and you can see it's kind of a blob. So what we're going to do is, in order to make the tortillas, you need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour. Now this is my recipe. You can try anything you want and see what you come up with. But I've tried all sorts of recipes for this, and this seems to be the best one so far. So 1.5 cups all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour, 1 cup of corn flour, 1/3 cup of flaxseed meal. I put flaxseed meal in everything. A handful of chia seeds and a handful of sesame seeds. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of dry yeast, and about 2 cups of water. You may need a little more depending on the weather. You know how dough is. So it's kind of finicky sometimes. So anyway, you mix all those together in the plastic container or any bowl that you have and cover it and let it sit for 2.5 to 3 hours. Now it's not really picky about how many hours it sits. So either one will work. Now we're going to cook these. I'll show you how I roll it. I think I told you that when I make these things, you really have to wear something that, the lid went on the ground. Oh well. Anyway, you have to wear something that is washable because you will get flour all over you if you're anything like me. So here we go. We've got, I'm using my Silpat for a rolling place because it cleans up really easily, and it seems to be really good for, if you have a nice cloth to roll it on, that's great too. But I just, down here, I have the Silpat. So I just use that as my base. And here's my rolling pin. So let's see. This will make, I think, did I tell you, about 12 tortillas? So I'm going to get a big clump of it. And it's about the size of, what would you say, a softball? So I just kind of roll it around on the flour. This dough is kind of stiff, so it shouldn't be a problem to roll it out. Wish me luck. Okay, so before you roll it out, you need to heat the skillet up and put it on medium-high, medium-low. Put it on medium-low. So give it a chance to heat up a little bit, because what you're going to do is roll out the tortillas. And they roll out so well. And actually, they started out as, let's see, how did I start? I tried all sorts of different concoctions, a lot of different recipes, and you can just try everything you want. Just remember that when you use whole wheat flour in your dough, it's going to absorb a lot more water than the white flour. And the cornmeal does the same thing, or corn flour rather. It really absorbs stuff too. So you can see they roll out really well, which is really nice. If you've ever rolled out tortillas before, you know, sometimes they stretch and come back and stretch and come back. So I'm going to test the pan. You want to be sure the pan is warm, hot when you put it in. So we'll put one in, and you can see it's taken up the whole pan, right? So here we go. We're going to cook it for about a minute on each side. Just see if it'll start to bubble up a little bit. Don't worry about that, because the bubbles are going to go right back down again when you're finished. So that's not a problem. And the stove is kind of funky too. So sometimes it's hotter than other times, but I can feel that the bubbles are starting to come up now on here. So what I usually do, today it's going to be a short video, so I'm not going to roll out all 12 tortillas, but I want you to see one and see the size that I get. And you can see there's tons of it left. And here's another softball size piece of dough. Sort of a softball size. Softball, I mean hardball, not softball. That would be huge, wouldn't it? I need a bigger pan. So I don't have a bigger pan today. We're going to cook this on one side. Another thing you can do is cook quinoa, and then put some quinoa in and use that as one of your cups. You can also use oats. You can use just about any grain that you want to make the tortillas. But this one seems to be the most flexible one I've discovered. So if you discover one that works better or as well, let me know, because I'd like to try that too. I love experimenting. It's one of the thrills of cooking, don't you think? So here we go. Let's take this out of the way. Well, I got it on the counter, but that's okay. Yeah, you have to do 12 of them, I think, before it starts flying all over the place. I already got it on the stove. So anyway, I'm going to show you the sandwiches I like to make, because I think you would absolutely love them too. It's really, really good. Now here, remember, everything's in plastic containers just about. So I have mustard and ketchup, because we really like ketchup a lot. And in for the ingredients to go in the sandwich, I have lettuce and avocados and onions and tomatoes. Now you can put anything in there you want or nothing at all, right? So here are the beans. I smashed them up. I cooked them in the crock pot last night, and they cook for 8 hours here anyway. Oh, how nice it is to live at sea level. I remember that so well. Oh my gosh. One time I was cooking pinto beans, and I put them on to cook, put a ton of water in the pan, and I was cooking them on the stove. And this is when we lived at sea level, which has been a few years. And so anyway, I put them on to cook, and then I went to the store. Oh boy. Well, you know, disaster ensued, because when I came home, the beans had burned in the pot, and you could smell burned beans all the way out to the driveway. It was absolutely horrible. So that was one of the big catastrophes of my cooking experience. I did learn a lot about beans that day. So anyway, they just smelled so awful, and I couldn't scrape all the stuff out. I mean, I tried and tried and tried to soak it out and everything, and oh, it was just awful. So I recommend the crock pot or the pressure cooker for beans. And a lot of people like those Instant Pots too. I haven't ever tried one, but they came out just before we left the States, I think. And it was a bummer because I was reading everybody's review of them, and it sounds like it's a great, great thing to have. So these are almost cooked here. In fact, it is. And I recommend that you use a fork or something to help you get the tortilla out. So here's the tortilla. Put it on the plate. Now we're going to make a sandwich. So to make our sandwich, oh yes, I had that cheese sauce. I made some more cheese sauce that I gave you the recipe was it last week or week before last? One of the cheese sauces. So anyway, I'm using the cheese sauce, and I'm just gonna spread it around on the tortilla. And then, oh, you will love these sandwiches. They're the most wonderful things on the planet. I have been telling my kids about them, you know, because it's just an easy thing to make. If you just have the tortillas ready. You know, these tortillas keep in the refrigerator about a week. And you can put them in the freezer, or you can do what I just showed you, you know, make the little slit, you know, the little pieces, and make chips. And that's a really good thing to do with it. So there's the beans, and I'm going to put a little mustard on. Okay. If you don't like mustard or ketchup, you don't have to use them because they taste just as good. And you can also, I usually have guacamole on hand, but the avocados down here don't get ripe very fast. So we get the big avocados, and it takes a couple of weeks. So we just got them about a week ago, so it hasn't been long enough. So here are the tomatoes and the onions. If you don't like onions, you don't have to put them on there. And the lettuce. There we go. Oh, forgot the avocados. You can't forget avocado, right? If you want to put salt on it, you can put salt on it too, but we are sort of cutting down on salt. So, okay, here we go. There's nothing, right? We're gonna, there you go. There's your sandwich. And I recommend that unless you want it all over you, to eat it with a fork and a knife. I know that sounds funny, huh? Eat a sandwich with a fork and knife. But really, let's see. I'll get a little taste here. Although I'm stuffed from Thanksgiving. But I love these sandwiches. They're so, so good. Okay, here we go. Oh. You're going to love this. It's absolutely wonderful. It's just going to be a great thing for you to add to your repertoire. I think you will really, really like it. So thank you so much for being part of our program and for watching today. And I want you to know that we really, really appreciate your comments and your thoughts. And would you please, if you have time, check the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up, and please leave a message. We love your messages, and we would like to have you join our group because we are really, really interested in making food that is healthy and great for you and absolutely delicious, and want you to know that it is so fun to do. So thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.